Welcome to Highlights of Jazz Music, a series exploring the history of jazz recordings from Joplin to Mahavishnu, from ragtime to fusion, 1916 to 1971. I'm your host, Justin Bouchard. In this 19th episode of Highlights of Jazz Music, we chronicle the years when bebop was at its height, in 1946, 1947, and 1948. For the first time in jazz music history, bebop was an artistic and musical expression of the artists who played it, and never again would jazz become a popular music form. We begin our 3-year survey of bebop with a small trio led by former Charlie Barnett pianist Dodo Marmarosa, playing I Surrender Dear, with a saxophone appearance by Lucky Thompson. Then we turn to the R&B stylings of Louis Jordan and the Timpani Five, singing and playing one of their many hit records, Beware.
Now, fellas, just you fellas, listen to me. Got something to tell you. I want you to listen to every word and govern yourself accordingly. Now, pay attention. You see these girls with these fine diamonds and fox furs and fine clothes? Well, Jack, they're looking for a husband. And you're listening to a man that knows.
They done hooked.
They ain't fooling. And if you fool around with them, you're gonna get yourself a schooling. If she saves your dough and won't go to a show, beware, brother, beware. And if she's easy to kiss and never resist, be careful.
Beware, brother,
be careful. And if you go for a walk and she just listens while you talk, she's trying to hook you. And if nobody's looking and she asks you to taste her cooking, don't do it, don't do it. And if you go to a show and she wants to sit in the back row, bring her down front. Bring her right down front. And if you go for a snack and she wants a booth in the back, watch her. She's trying to hook you. And listen, if she's used to caviar and fine silk, and when she goes out with you, she wants a hot dog and a malted milk. She's been used to going to Carnegie Hall, and when you take out nightclub and she wants to hear one meatball.
That's all.
If she grabs your hand and says, darling, you're such a nice man. Beware, I'm telling you. Now, listen to me. You think he's listening to me?
Yeah, he's listening.
You better listen to me. I'm telling you what's being put on. You better pick up on it. Now listen to this. If a sister calls you brother, you better get further, I'm telling you. You better hit her. And if she's kind of wild and she said, darling, please give me a trial. Don't do it. Don't be weak. Don't give it to her. If she looks up in your face and just melts into place, let her melt. Forget it. You think he's paying attention to it? Should I ask him about the? Should I? But should I tell him about? Tell him everything. Oh, okay, I'll tell him. Listen, if she calls you on the phone and she says, "Darling, are you all alone?" Tell her no. You got 3 girls with you. Don't pay no attention to women. Stand up for your rights.
That's right.
Be a man. That's
Superman.
right. Should I tell him about
Everything.
Well, listen, this is very important. If you turn out the light and she don't fight, that's all. That's all. That's the end. It's too late then. She got you hooked. You just well to stick with her. Put down that race to farm and pay attention to me. Now listen, if you get home about 2 and you don't know what to do and you pull back the curtain and the whole family's looking at you, get your business straight and set the date. And don't be late. Gate. So brother, beware. 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 Brother, you better beware. Beware.
That last song was Echoes of Harlem by Cootie Williams and his orchestra. 1946 was a terrible year financially for the big bands still performing and touring on the road. By the end of the year, many of the swing bands would either break up permanently or temporarily. To survive in the changing musical environment of the post-war years, the big bands would have to adapt new musical stylings, but even this would not be a guarantee ensuring their longevity. 2 such bands formed at the end of the swing era, who would both dissolve by the end of 1946, were the orchestras led by Roy Eldridge and Billy Eckstine. First, we hear Eldridge play on All the Cats Join In, which is better known through Benny Goodman's more popular recording, and then Eckstine and company play Second Balcony Jump, featuring Eckstine playing a valve trombone solo. Eckstine would scale down the size of his orchestra to a small combo at the start of 1947, and then spend the remainder of his career as a solo crooner.
Hop in that old jalop and head for the malted shop, and all the cats join in. Down goes my last 2 bits, come up 1 banana split, and all the cats join in. Drop your jack in that old jukebox, play your favorite disc. When you dance with the Bobby socks, you dance at your own risk. Rip, everybody swings, yes, swing till the rafters ring, and all the cats join in.
musical partnership between Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker ended at the start of 1946, as Gillespie went back to New York and Parker stayed in Los Angeles after a tour. Gillespie then signed a contract with the RCA Victor label and spent the next few years exploring and pushing the boundaries of bebop. On the record date of February 22, 1946, Gillespie leads a small orchestra and gives the vibraphonist Milt Jackson plenty of solo room on Anthropology. We'll hear Milt Jackson's vibes again later in this episode.
If you ever plan to motor west, travel my way, take the highway, that's the best. I get your kicks on Route 66. It winds from Chicago to LA, more than 2,000 miles all the way. Get your kicks on Route 66. Now you go through St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, and Oklahoma City looks mighty pretty. You'll see Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Banana, Kingman, Barstow, San Bernardino. Want you get hip to this timely tip when you make that California trip. Get your kicks on Route 66. to this timely tip. When you make that California trip, I get your kicks on Route 66. I get your kicks on Route 66. I get your kicks on Route 66.
That last song was Route 66 by the Nat King Cole Trio, a jazzy tribute to America's highway. In Los Angeles, Charlie Parker signed with the small independent label Dial, and for the remainder of 1946 played with local Los Angeles bebop musicians. On the recording session of March 28, 1946, Parker waxed 4 masterpieces. We have chosen 2 of them, Yardbird Suite and Ornithology, titles that allude to Parker's nickname, Bird. That last song was Don't Blame Me by pianist Lenny Tristano, one of the more musically abstract-minded bebop musicians. One of Count Basie's star soloists was the tenor saxophonist Lester Young. We heard examples of his playing in the episodes detailing the swing era. During the swing era, Lester Young also participated on many recording sessions with Billie Holiday, and by 1946, Young had yet to lead a recording session under his own name. Signing with the family of record labels started by jazz impresario Norman Granz, Young made his first records as a leader in the spring of 1946. On Back to the Land, he leads a trio featuring Nat King Cole on piano and drummer Buddy Rich. Afterwards, we'll hear from the short-lived orchestra led by drummer Ray McKinley, singing the lyrics of the Boogie Woogie song, Down the Road a Piece. McKinley had played drums in the orchestras led by Jimmy Dorsey and the Army Air Force Band led by Glenn Miller, and also co-led the Boogie Woogie Band with trombonist Will Bradley.
boy, where's you going the other day when I seen you going?
Why, man, I wasn't going no place. I done been where I was going.
Well, that's all right then. I guess I didn't see you. You's already gone.
Boy, you know one thing. I sure would like to latch on to some of that boogie-woogie music tonight.
You mean some of that fat boogie-woogie?
Yeah, that's what I need, all right.
That's what I need all right too, boy. Now, if you want to hear some boogie, I know the place. There's just an old piano and a knocked-out bass. The drummer man's a guy they call 8-Beat Mac. And you remember Doc and old Beat Me Daddy Slack. Lord, it's better than chicken fried and bacon grease. Come along with me down the road a piece, 'cause they got a little place where you get lots of kicks. It's open every night from about 12 to 6. If you like boogie-woogie, you get a fill. They toss 8 beats to you like a steam drill. Come along with me, boy, before they lose their lease. It's just down the road a piece.
That last song was Igor by Woody Herman and his small group The Woodchoppers, featuring Red Norvo on vibraphone. The Igor in the title is a tribute to classical composer Igor Stravinsky, who composed his Ebony Concerto for Woody Herman's orchestra that same year. Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker were on different musical paths during 1946. We first hear Gillespie in New York with a small group playing and singing the novelty bebop song Oop Bop Shabam, featuring the vibes of Milt Jackson, and on the West Coast, Parker and local Los Angeles bebop musicians such as trumpet player Howard McGee played the pop ballad Loverman. At the end of this session, Parker's addiction to drugs forced him to retire from music for the remainder of the year.
Look 'em up.
That last song was Don't Worry About Me, played by Stan Getz, one of the many musicians that were making bebop records during Charlie Parker's absence from music. The orchestra, led by multi-instrumentalist and arranger Benny Carter, was among many big bands that never became well known. For most of Carter's 70-plus year career that began in 1929 and ended with his death in 2003, he preferred the intimacy of the small group format. On several occasions between 1929 and 1946, he led a small group under the anonymous name Chocolate Dandies. One of the final Chocolate Dandies recording sessions he led was on August 23, 1946, when this group played the bebop-flavored Cadillac Slim. Among this group's sidemen were former Count Basie trumpet player Buck Clayton and former Duke Ellington tenor saxophonist Ben Webster. 1946 and 1947, bebop music was both played by the small groups and large-sized big bands. Bebop big band never really caught on with the public since it was impossible to dance to, unlike the swing music that preceded it. For our look at bebop big band, we have chosen the orchestras led by Boyd Rayburn and Gene Krupa. First, Rayburn and his men play a tribute to the modern classical composer Igor Stravinsky on Boyd Meets Stravinsky, and then drummer Gene Krupa plays This Jockey Jump, an arrangement composed by Jerry Mulligan. After a hiatus of 8 months, Charlie Parker returned to the recording studios on February 19th, 1947, with the legendary backing group that included the trumpet player and jazz legend Miles Davis. One of the recordings made on that winter day was Relaxing at Camarillo, a title tribute to the sanitarium Parker stayed at during his absence from music. After that, we'll hear from Count Basie and his orchestra play a bit of R&B flavored boogie woogie on 1 O'Clock Boogie.
misunderstood. Old lady, be good to me. Say I'm all alone in this big city of New York. Won't somebody please have pity, 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 pity on me? Just a lonesome babe in the woods. Old lady, be good to me. Tasket, I lost my yellow basket. I'm just a lonesome babe in the woods. Oh lady, won't be so good to me.
That last song was Lady Be Good, sung in a bebop style by Ella Fitzgerald. The biggest hit-making big band of 1947 belonged to the orchestra led by pianist Stan Kenton. Pushing the boundaries of swing music, he totally remakes the 1930s song Standard Lover into a modern and abstract piece. At the end of 1947, Kenton would break up his famous band and go into retirement, which would last until 1950. Along with Kenton, Benny Goodman in 1947 was at Capitol Records. Goodman was leading both big bands and small groups, but playing more modern. His trio recording of Putting on the Ritz has elements of both swing and modern fused together.
and you love me. Hurry through the alley so the neighbors won't see you. Hurry on down to my house, baby. Ain't nobody home but me. Hurry on down to my house, baby. Ain't nobody home but me. Hurry on down, baby. I'm blue as I can be. Mama's gone for the whole long day. Just think of it, honey. We'll have a long time to play. If you hurry on down, ain't nobody home but me. Hurry, 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 hurry. There ain't nobody home but me. Hurry on down. I'm blue as I can be. The cuckoo in the clock is going tick tock tick. Oh, come on, honey, quick, quick, quick. Hurry on down, baby. Ain't nobody home but me. Hurry on down, ain't nobody home but me. Hurry on down, baby. I'm blue as I can be. Please come down just as soon as you can. If you can't, I'll have to call Sam. He'll hurry on down, ain't nobody home but me. Hurry, 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 hurry. Hurry on down, baby. I'm blue as I can be. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Oh, come on, honey, you must, you must. Hurry on down, baby. There ain't nobody home but me. Hurry on down to my house, baby. There ain't nobody home but me. Haul it down, drag it down, anywhere you get it down. I'm blue as I can be. Operator, give me hillside 049. Don't stop ringing till I get my baby's line. It's got to haul it on down to my house quickly. There ain't nobody home but only me. There is nobody home but me.
That last song was Hurry On Down by R&B vocalist Nellie Lutcher. One of the 1940s and 1950s most prolific recording artists was Errol Garner. Not a bebop player, he played in a more mainstream style. He was known for his marathon recording sessions as a soloist and with his trio. Out of the 4 tracks he made on April 22, 1947, we feature the first, the boogie solo masterpiece, Errol's Bounce. That last song was Donna Lee by Charlie Parker, featuring trumpet passages by Miles Davis. At the start of the bebop era, Louis Armstrong was still fronting an orchestra under the direction of pianist Louis Russell. A concert at Symphony Hall in Boston, Massachusetts in early 1947 featured Armstrong and a company of Dixieland musicians. This would be the start of the small group The All-Stars that Armstrong would lead right up until his death in 1971. The first All-Stars commercial studio recording date occurred on June 10, 1947, and one of the numbers made was Rockin' Chair, featuring trombonist Jack Teagarden, who shares the microphone with Armstrong on the corny lyrics.
Rockin' chair's got me.
Old rocking chair got your father.
Cane by my side.
Your cane by your side.
Fetch me a drink of water there, son.
You know it ain't no water you want, father.
For I tan your hide.
Gonna tan my hide.
Can't get from this cabin.
What cabin choking, father?
Ain't going nowhere.
You ain't going nowhere, no.
Just sitting here grabbing
at
the flight round his rocking chair.
Rocking chair, Lord.
Do you remember old Aunt Harriet?
Aunt Harriet.
How long in heaven she be?
Heaven she be, baby.
Send me a sweet chariot.
Oh, chariot.
At the end of the trouble I see.
My sweet chariot.
Old rocking chair gets it.
Old rocking chair, get it, father?
Judgment day's almost here.
Judgment day's here.
Change
Sing it, father.
to my old rocking chair.
Look at that, father. Dig this.
Yeah.
Old rocking chair got the father.
I show his beat.
You can't lay by inside.
Can't even pick that up no more.
I ain't got no water, father.
Well, you better start running.
You're gonna tan my hide.
You said it, you said it.
You can't get from this cabin.
No, I done been wise.
No, father. but you ain't going nowhere. You sitting, you're grabbing,
Yeah.
you're grabbing,
Yeah.
you're grabbing the flies round the old rocking chair.
Sure is bothersome, ain't it?
Rocking chair. Remember old Aunt Harriet?
Yeah, long in heaven she be gay. Let's see.
Way up in heaven she be.
I hope.
That, oh, fetch me a chariot, oh, chariot.
I've got to ride.
End of the time, trouble I see.
Yes, sir.
Oh, rocking chair, get it.
Yeah.
Rocking chair, get it.
Yeah.
And Judgment Day. Oh, Judgment Day, yeah, Judgment Day, yeah. You sit in your chair, you rocking chair.
Yes, sir, gay.
Like the swing era, the bebop musicians utilized the skill of musical arrangers. In our two selections of unique arrangements of two songs composed by Dizzy Gillespie, we first hear Anthropology, played by the Claude Thornhill Orchestra as arranged by Gil Evans. We'll hear more from Evans in the next episode. Then pianist and arranger Tad Dameron arranges Our Delight, which features the trumpet playing of bebop pioneer Fats Navarro. In 1947, two musicians whose careers would take off during the 1950s made their debuts. First, pianist and composer Thelonious Monk, who had made some of the first bebop recordings back in 1944 as a guest sideman in Coleman Hawkins' small group, made his recording debut as a leader for the Blue Note label. At his second session on October 24, 1947, he plays his composition Ruby My Dear, and then bassist and composer Charles Mingus sits in as a sideman with the orchestra led by Lionel Hampton, given plenty of solo space on the record, Mingus Fingers. In December 1947, the recording studios in the United States were very busy scheduling recording sessions to have plenty of stockpile masters for the upcoming American Federation of Musicians ban on commercial recordings that would last throughout most of 1948. One of the bands busy making last-minute recordings was the Woody Herman Orchestra. On December 27, 1947, the Herman Band made Four Brothers, a legendary recording featuring solo space not only from the leader himself on clarinet, but the saxophone section of Stan Getz, Zoot Sims, Herbie Stewart, and Serge Chaloff, who were known by their collective nickname, the Four Brothers. The recording studios of the United States all but silent in 1948, we turn our attention to the other side of the Atlantic. During the war years, Django Reinhardt stayed in France, while the violinist Stéphane Grappelli stayed in England. When the two reunited in 1946 and reformed the Quintet of the Hot Club of France, both men's musical styles had drifted apart. Reinhardt was playing in a more modern style, and Grappelli still played his signature gypsy style like he did in the 30s. The original lineup reformed several times before the end of the 1940s. On March 10, 1948, the two reunited in the studio once again, playing Mike, a great piece that brings back the magic of the 1930s. That last song was Lover by electric guitarist and innovator Les Paul, using overdubbing and sonic effects that would bring him commercial success during the early 1950s. We end this episode of Highlights of Jazz Music with two of bebop's music pioneers, Thelonious Monk and Charlie Parker. First, we hear Monk play his legendary recording Epistrophe, featuring Milt Jackson. Then we hear Charlie Parker move away from the sounds of bebop and explore the fusion of Latin rhythms and jazz music, sitting in as a sideman in Machito's orchestra, playing Mango Menge. The musicians of bebop jazz would be moving in new musical directions, as the 1940s were coming to a close and the 1950s were about to begin. In the next episode of Highlights of Jazz Music, we focus on the new musical directions and routes that the bebop pioneers were undertaking during the 3-year period of 1949, 1950, and 1951. Until then, I am your host, Justin Bouchard.